Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have two more great Mothman stories from both Illinois and Wisconsin today, folks, to read to you all today. Once more, we're going to upper Midwest America to learn more about Mothman. Let's start with this story. Gigantic winged humanoid races over Schurenburg, Illinois Catholic Church while witnesses play Pokemon Go. Let's get into it now. On the evening of October 14th, 2020, a casual walk in Schurenburg, Illinois, turned into a moment of profound shock when two witnesses observed a massive winged humanoid rise into the night sky. The encounter occurred in a well-lit suburban area near a church, adding to a growing body of winged humanoid report cases across Chicago's northwest suburbs. What was seen that night did not resemble any known bird or bat species. The following account was received on October 16, 2020, and later expanded upon during a direct phone interview with the primary witness, identified here as T.H. T.H. stated that he and his cousin were walking near his cousin's residence in Schurenburg, Illinois, on Wednesday evening, October 14th, at approximately 7:30 p.m. The two occasionally played Pokemon Go together and had decided to walk behind St. Matthew's Parish, located at 951 East Schurenburg Road. As they approached a paved path near the rear of the church property, T.H. noticed an open, grassy meadow illuminated by tall street lamps. At that moment, he observed a pair of enormous black wings flapping several times near the edge of the lighted area. The wings were followed by the appearance of a full humanoid body, which he estimated to be approximately 6 feet tall. So unlike one previous video where the Mothman was basically mentioned to be very, tall, almost inhumanly tall, this particular entity was observed basically around human height, at least. The last one I think was basically 12 or 16 feet tall, flying over, another, I think campus or basically church or something, folks. I think it was a school at least, but either way, this being at least sounds somewhat more human-like. And maybe, a flying humanoid being is just not, by conventional aerodynamic theory, shouldn't be able to fly, folks. At the very least, this thing was an towering behemoth. But still, probably a monstrous thing to see nonetheless. So let's consider this just as a bizarre encounter with any other Mothman-like entity. But let's continue with the story now, folks. T.H. stated that the creature moved upward rapidly, ascending into the night sky. As it passed directly through the glow of the street lamps, he could clearly see light shining through its wings, which appeared leathery and membranous, similar to those of a bat. He emphasized that this was not a bird, explained that the wings' structure and movement were distinctly bat-like. The witness estimated the wingspan to be at least 12 feet, possibly larger. He stated that the sheer size immediately ruled out any known bat species, noting that he had never seen anything remotely similar in his life. The encounter lasted only seconds, but left a lasting impression due to the clarity of the lighting and the object's proximity. And the guy seems pretty adamant this was no bat, but it did move like a bat-like, animal, folks. So, this is lines up very nicely with other Mothman accounts that mention bat-like wings. Sometimes they're mentioned as basically being more bird-like, but yeah, the movement basically tracks with what we read before, folks, as I've said so many times before. Yet another interesting Mothman account. But let's read the next Mothman story I have lined up for us today. Yellow-eyed winged humanoid reported at 2021 Wisconsin State Fair in West Allis, and read yet another encounter with Mothman in Wisconsin that borders, Illinois. Why is Mothman being seen in this part of America, folks? We still have no idea, but let's read on. In August 2021, a college student working late at night cleaning up at the Wisconsin State Fair reported a terrifying encounter near the Main Street stage. What was first dismissed by others as a trick of the light or a large bird quickly escalated into a detailed account of a tall winged entity that appeared to be watching people on the stage. The emotional intensity and physical proximity of the sighting raises important questions that continue to surface in similar reports across the Midwest. The witness, a college student entering her final year, was working as part of a cleanup crew at the Wisconsin State Fair on the night of Thursday, August 5th, 2021. She and another worker of similar age were assigned to pick up trash near the Main Street stage following a concert that had ended roughly 2 hours earlier. The performance that night was by Christian rock group Skillet. I imagine it was a good concert, folks, but maybe there was something distinctly inhuman watching the concert along with the party-goers, folks. Or concert-goers in this case. Either way, it sounded like a party, folks, and there was more than just humans at it. But let's read on. While working near the far right side of the stage and talking casually, her co-worker suddenly shouted an alarm approximately 30 feet away near the edge of a parking lot area used as a motor truck infield during the fair. The witness observed a tall, humanoid figure unlike anything she had ever seen. The entity appeared to be about 7 feet tall, extremely thin, yet solid and entirely black. Most striking were its glowing yellow eyes and large bat-like wings extending an estimated 12 feet from tip to tip. The entity appeared focused on personnel dismantling stage equipment and initially seemed unaware of the two witnesses. It then took several unsteady steps toward the stage before turning its head and looking directly at them. At that moment, the witness described an overwhelming psychological and emotional response. She felt as though the air had been pulled from her lungs and experienced complete immobilization accompanied by absolute terror. She was unable to scream or move, which tracks with other stories of encounters with Mothman, folks, as well as other entities where people suddenly feel frightened or literally like the air had been sucked out of them, both in surprise and in bewilderment and terror. That does track, folks. Either way, it sounds like this witness had one horrifying ordeal along with her co-worker. But let's read on. After several seconds, the entity rapidly flapped its wings as if stretching them, then lifted into the air and vanished into the night. The witnesses remained frozen until another worker approached and asked if they had seen someone nearby. When told what had happened, the individual suggested it might have been a large owl or another bird destroyed by lightning and shadows, and questioned whether they were under the influence of drugs. The witness strongly rejected this explanation, stating with certainty that what she saw was real and intelligent in behavior. The pair completed their shift and left the fairgrounds around 2:30 a.m. The witness noted that her co-worker appeared deeply shaken and stated he planned to remain in well-lit areas for the rest of the night. Now, I mentioned lightning earlier, folks. It probably wasn't rain, but I would imagine if there was, someone would have said it was probably just a trick of the lightning, folks. Or, in this case, folks, they said it was a trick of the lighting and shadows. So you can see how people will basically go for the most common way and mundane idea to explain away things, which isn't a bad thing, folks. A lot of the times people see things, they think they're real, but they're just basically mistakes, misidentifications. But here, folks, this doesn't sound like it was a misidentification. These people saw something inhuman, something real. Could have been a guy in a costume, folks. Perhaps maybe a party goer dressed up for the concert. Maybe. I just don't know. It certainly is an incredibly bizarre story, folks, right off the bat. This entity, though, unlike other Mothman accounts, where they basically are described as having glowing red eyes, sometimes people can't even see a head on it, folks. They mentioned that they do see red eyes, almost like they were, in the shoulders. But this mentions that this entity, while not directly seen, I guess, or basically made out distinct facial features, had a head with glowing yellow eyes. So maybe there are more than one type of Mothman out there, folks, because with the ones from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, people rarely mention a head. They mention glowing eyes, though, as if they're unable to basically perceive the head, or the eyes are basically implanted into the, torso or shoulders of the entity. But here, they mention a head, so maybe they're not the same entity, but I have my doubts about that. But it could be maybe that there are more things that resemble Mothman or these bat-like entities than we really can tell, folks. I mean, after all, there are stories of giant bats and giant owls that have been seen in Chicago and the surrounding states, so maybe there are creatures that resemble each other, but they're not the same species. I'm not so sure. Either way, certainly a very interesting set of stories we've read about today, folks, but we're now at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to part of the bell. They'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.